Hello guys and welcome again to my channel. So I have started already the working capital management series and I have already discussed the first topic, which is working capital management in general. And now today I have promised in the past episode that we're going to talk about inventory management. So let's do that, okay? So again, our topic is inventory management. So what is this all about? Actually, this particular topic is centered into two questions only. First is how many units are you going to order? Are you going to make na lang? So that's the first question. So how many units per order are you going to make? Like for example, you have a particular supplier and that you are ordering inventories from that supplier. So how much or how many units per order are you going to make to that supplier, from that supplier rather? So if ever, that's 20,000 units per order. So that's an example of this one. Okay? And then the second question is when to order. When to order. So in this second question, you're not going to answer a time period here. Like for example, every 6 months. It's not like that. This question, number 2, is to be answered based on the remaining number of units of your inventory. Like for example, you will now order again to that supplier if the inventory level is only 5,000 units already. So that's the answer to the when to order, not a time period, but the level of inventory in which if it reaches that, you have to order from your supplier again. Okay? So let's answer first this question. How many orders or how many units per order are you going to make? So in order to illustrate, in order to have this question answered, let's have a situation whereby BBG Incorporated has the following inventory needs. Number 1, we have the annual demand of 54,000 units. And then, the cost to order is 90 per order. And then, the carrying cost is 3 per unit of average inventory. Number 4, the purchase price per unit is 100. That's it. So let's tackle each of the given. So the annual demand, that means maybe BBG Incorporated has forecasted their sales to the customers, and based on the forecasting technique that they have used, it's very likely that the company will need to sell 54,000 inventories in a year. So that is what is meant by the annual demand. Okay? Now, the cost to order is 90 per order. So what is this cost to order? When you place an order to a certain supplier, of course, you have to pay for something. It could be the processing costs of placing an order, like telephone. If you wanted to contact the supplier, you have to call him, or to call the supplier, him, her, I don't care. And any other ordering costs. So again, this cost to order are your costs that you will incur if you place an order to a supplier. Okay? So that's 90 per order. So meaning, logic will tell you, if ever you place a lot of orders in a year, then this will go up, this cost to order. Like for example, you are going to order 100 times to a supplier. So your cost will be 100 times this 90 per order. Okay? Now, let's go to the carrying costs. So the carrying cost of an inventory is, um, how do I call this? For example, your inventories that you are buying are fungible goods, those that can be, you know, sensitive goods, like ice cream that you need to control the temperature, for example. So of course, if you are selling ice cream, you cannot order everything on January 1. Like for example, 54,000 liters of ice cream in this particular example. You cannot be able to order the 54,000 units of ice cream immediately, because you would need some kind of refrigerators for it and other things that should maintain the quality of your, what do we call this, inventories. So meaning, the higher the inventories that you're going to keep, the higher the carrying cost. Okay? Now, here's the catch. How do we compute the carrying cost? For example, you decided that on the 54,000 units, you will order only from your supplier twice in a year. So that would simply mean you have 27,000 average inventory, because the carrying cost is multiplied against average inventory, and average inventory is based on how much are you going to order per order. Okay? Since you have decided that you are going to order twice, so this 54,000 divided by two orders, that would be 27,000 units. You're going to order that on the first order. On the second order, another 27,000. So how do you compute for the carrying cost? Again, you should base it on the average inventory. And how do you get it? Your order size divided by 2. That's the average inventory. So 27,000 divided by 2, I don't know. 27 divided by 2, 12, 13,500. 13,500 units times the carrying cost of 3. So I want you to remember that. Okay, so the carrying cost, if you wanted to compute it, that would be the carrying cost per unit times average inventory, in which the average inventory is coming from your order size, or how many units per order, and then you divide it by 2 and you're gonna get the average inventory. Okay? So as to the total cost to order, that's very simple. Number of orders times 90 per order. Okay? So that's the carrying cost and cost to order, which is very important in this particular lesson that we have right now. Now, we have purchase price per unit is 100 pesos per unit. Of course, this is self-explanatory. Okay? Now, let's have question number 1 again. How many units per order are you going to make? Without any technique, you will be able to compute the costs, the inventory costs. Of course, this is the problem. If you are to place order few times only, of course, the cost to order will become lower. Just like what I've said earlier, if you decide to put 2 orders only for the 54,000, so first order 27,000, second order 27,000, the cost to order will be lower. However, the carrying cost will be bigger. Why? Because on the 54,000, you are to order 27,000 and then divided by 2, the average inventory will rise. And if the average inventory will rise, that means the carrying cost will also rise. So that's actually the problem. Okay? Here. Now, the purchase price per unit, whatever you decide, how many orders are you going to make, how many units per order are you going to make also, the purchase price per unit is unaffected. So this given is irrelevant. So what we want is this cost to order and this carrying cost shall be minimized as much as possible. Okay? So, in order to illustrate this particular difference, they are very much, what do you call this, indirectly proportional. If the cost to order will go down, the carrying cost will go up, and vice versa. If the cost to order, if you decide you will make a lot of orders so that the number of units per order will also decrease, what will happen is the cost to order will rise, but the carrying cost will decrease. Okay? So again, this number 4, the purchasing cost is irrelevant. So, let's have the example number 1 that I've said. Example, number of orders that you have decided without any techniques is 2 times. So what will happen? If that's 2 times, then that would mean the number of the units per order that you are going to make is 54,000 divided by 2 orders. You have 27,000 units per order. So technically, this is known as the order size. The order size. Okay? 27,000 units per order. So what will happen if this will be your decision? You decided again that the number of orders for the 54,000 annual demand is only 2 times. So you have to order 27,000 units per order. So what will happen to the cost to order? It's easy. You have 54,000 annual demand divided by 27,000 per order. Again, that's 2 times. 2 orders. Okay? 2 orders times 90, you only have a cost to order of, total cost to order of 180. But how about the carrying cost? The carrying cost, of course, if this is your decision, you have to get the average inventory. So meaning the order size, 27,000 units because you have decided on it, order size, over 2, the average inventory is 13,500. Okay? So 13,500 units as the average inventory times the carrying cost per inventory. So let's use the calculator. 13,500 times 3. You have 40,500. Now, as you can see, that happened. The cost to order is minimized because you decided to only order twice. But the carrying cost is becoming bigger because of the average inventory, which became bigger also. Again, the average inventory is the order size that you have decided divided by 2. And let me add, this average inventory is as if the inventory that is in your company day in and day out. That's as if theoretically. Di follow? So meaning in day in and day out, you have to maintain 13,500 in your storage units, and you have to incur cost of carrying them. So the total carrying cost is 40,500. So that's what's happened. That's what will happen if ever you're going to make few orders. Now let's have situation number two. The situation number two is, what if we make a lot of orders? Like for example, you have decided that you are going to order 54 times. Okay? 54 times. So again, example, you're going to order 54 times. Number of orders. What if we order, okay, 54 times. So what will happen is that 54,000, which is our annual requirement for inventories. So you're going to order 54 times. So that means the order size. So in each order, you have to order from your supplier 1,000 units per order. So that's the order size. So what will happen if this will be the case? So let's compute first the cost to order. The cost to order, you can immediately put there 54 times, or else you have 54,000, which is the annual demand, over the order size. The order size, which is 1,000. And you'll get still 54. Okay? So 54 orders times 90. So 54 times 90, that's 4,860. Okay? How about the cost to carry? So the cost to carry again is the order size that you have decided, that is 1,000 units per order divided by 2. And you will have 500 units as average inventory times the carrying cost. The carrying cost is 1,500. As you can see, it's very far from the costs of these two here, because the total cost here is 40,500 plus 180. That's 40,680. Here, you only have 6,000 plus. I guess it's 6,000 plus. Now, this is much better, right? However, this is not the most optimum. As you can see, from 180, it became higher. And then the carrying cost, it became lower, because your order size became lower. And this became higher because the number of orders that you have decided on became higher. So again, this is much better than this one. Okay? However, that is not the most optimum solution. Actually, there is a technique, which is what do we call as the economic order quantity. So it has a formula, but the formula is only derived from the logic, which is they came up with that formula in which the cost to order and the carrying cost will become equal. So as I've mentioned earlier, the relationship between cost to order and carrying cost are indirectly proportional. So if this becomes lower, this becomes higher. If this becomes higher, this becomes lower. Right? So they devised a simple formula in which the carrying cost and the cost to order in total will be the same. Like the cost to order is the same with the carrying cost if computed just like this. Okay? Now I'm not going to derive already. Let's go directly to the formula. Okay? You can derive it. You can just have this cost to order, which is annual demand over the order size times the cost per order, equals the carrying cost, which is the order size divided by 2, which is the average inventory, times the cost to carry per unit. You can do that. You can derive it. But I'm going to go immediately to the formula after this. Okay? So, again, I'm sorry about that. I have to pause the video so that it will not, because the capacity of my phone is only 30 minutes. So I have to pause it. So again, the problem is the cost to order and the carrying cost is inversely proportional as to each other. I don't know if it is proportional, but they are inverse, in which the cost to order, again, if it is lower, then the carrying cost will become higher. And if the carrying cost will become lower, the cost to order will become higher, as seen here. So as you can see, the total cost here, when we decided that we're going only to order twice, it's 40,680. How about here? For 860 plus 1.5, how much is that? For 860 plus 1.5, that is 6,360. So there is a big difference between this one and this one. However, as I've told you, this is not yet the optimal solution. So there is what do we call as economic order quantity, in which that is a formula wherein the total cost to order will be equivalent to the um, total carrying cost. Okay? So what is that formula? So this is the formula. Let me. So let's preserve this particular problem and let's use the economic order quantity, or what do we call as EOQ, economic order quantity. That is equivalent to square root, and then there is a fraction in which we have 2 times annual demand or annual requirement times cost to order over the carrying cost per average inventory unit. That's it. You just have to follow this. So meaning, the economic order quantity size or the order size is 2 times the annual demand of 54,000 times the ordering cost. So when you order, you have to pay for 90 pesos per order. And then the carrying cost per unit is 3. And then, if you're going to calculate it, you will have 2 times 54,000 times 90. So 9,720,000 divided by 3. That's 3,240,000. 3,240,000. So EOQ is equivalent to square root of 3,240,000. It's 1/8. So you have to order 1/8 per order. So that's question number 1. How many units per order are you going to make if this is the problem or the given? The answer is 1/8 per order. Now let's make sure if ever this is really the optimal solution. So it is the optimal solution if ever the total cost to order and the total carrying cost will become equal, and that if you're going to add the total cost to order plus the total carrying cost, it will be lower than what we have experimented a while ago. The 40,000 and the 6,000, if I'm not mistaken. So, let's compute for total cost to order. Again, in order to compute the total cost to order, you have number of orders, in which number of orders is equivalent to the annual demand, because that's what you need. And then this order size of 1/8. So if you need 54,000 and you have to order 1,800 per order, then that means you have to order 30 times. So 30 times 90, that's 2,700. Okay? So that's the total cost to order. How about the carrying cost? Again, the carrying cost is the average inventory times the carrying cost. However, the average inventory is coming from the order size. The order size of 1,800 divided by 2, which is 90. 900. So, meaning, your inventory is as if day in and day out 900 units. And you have to maintain this. In order to maintain this, you need to incur a cost of 3. 900 times 3. And you have 27 also. See? This EOQ is coming from the idea of making the total cost to order and cost to carry equal. Okay? Now, let's compute. The total cost to order and total cost to carry, that's 5,400, which is lower than what we have experimented a while ago. We have 40,000 when we decided to order only twice. And when we decided to order 54 times, that's 6,000 plus. So you can rewind the video if you wanted to. So this is EOQ, guys. And that's how you get this. How many units per order are you going to make to your supplier? So this is the sample problem. This is the sample solution. 1/8 units per order. Do you understand? If you did, then let's go to the next question. When to order? Just in a little while. And now, again, let's answer the second question. When are you going to order? But let's preserve this particular situational problem. So we have to add only number 5, lead time is 6 days. Now, what is this lead time? Whilst answering, this lead time is actually is the number of days from which you placed an order and the delivery of your order. So that's 6 days. So if ever you're going to place an order now, after 6 days, those order of yours will be delivered. So that's lead time. So that is very important in computing for the reorder point or this when to order. So again, this is not based on the time period. So not every month or every 6 months, but instead, it's based on the inventory level. So if this is only the level of the inventories na, you have to order. Okay? So how do we compute that? Of course, first, you have to get the annual demand divided by 360 days. If the company is operating 360 days a year, it could also be 365 or whatever. So in this particular case, let's have 360 days, for example. So if the annual demand will be divided by 360 days, you will get the demand per day. So that's the first step. So again, our annual demand is 54,000 for 360 days. So divided by 360 days, we have 54,000 divided by 360 days, we have 150 per day. So it means you are selling, I guess, if ever everything is the same, you are selling in the average 150 units of inventory per day. Okay? So it means the second one, your demand per day, you have to multiply it with the lead time. So if you are selling 150 per day times 6 days, 150 times 6, 900 units. That means if the inventory level reaches 900, you have to order already. Otherwise, if you will make your units be zero first before you order, then you will lose any profits for 6 days because you cannot sell anything. And that is what we call as opportunity cost, which is why we need to be able to basically compute the lead time, the demand per day in order to get the reorder point so that we will minimize any opportunity costs. Okay? So that's the order point. However, there are twists. Why? For example, sometimes the lead time is 8 days, not 6 days. Sometimes it's 8 days. Okay? And that there is a probability that these 8 days will occur 50% of the times. 50% probability. So how did we get this 50% probability? Based on historical experience of BBG Incorporated. Like for example, in the last year, 50% of the times, 6 days is the lead time. From the ordering point to the delivery, it's 6 days. But 50% also of those times, the delivery time is 8 days or the lead time is 8 days. So meaning, 50-50. 50% here, 50% here. So this 8 days has 50% probability. Okay? Now, if this will be the case, there will be a safety stock. Okay? So instead of reordering at 900 units inventory level, you have to add 2 days if the opportunity cost is great. Like for example, let's add another given. Um, each day of stock out, the company loses each stock out na lang. So each stock out, the company loses um, due to opportunity cost, uh, 3,000. 3,000 pesos. So that's the opportunity cost. So what you will do is that if ever you're going to maintain these 900 units, or are you going to stock up to the 8 days? So meaning, instead of 900, we have 150 times 8. So 150 times 8. 1,200 units. So there is an addition of 300 units, which is, since 150 per day, so that means 2 days. 2 days, 150 times 2 days is 300. That's the analysis. Okay? So, you are faced with a decision. Are you going to go with this as the reorder point or this one? It depends. You have to compute first the advantage and the disadvantage. Okay? What is the advantage of having a, a stock of additional 300 safety stock? Again, this is what we call a safety stock. The advantage of that one is that you will not have any opportunity cost, which is again 3,000 times 50% probability. That is 1.5 only. You cannot put the advantage at full 3,000. It is because, again, there is only 50% probability that this will happen. So meaning, the loss of 3,000 as the opportunity cost times 50%, the expected value of your opportunity cost is only 1.5. So that's the advantage. you will not suffer an opportunity cost of 1.5. Okay? So the disadvantage of this one is that you will carry the safety stock. So that means, in our particular example a while ago, we have 1/8 already. 1/8 as the economic order quantity. We have computed it. So in order to get the average inventory, we have to divide it by 2. We have already 900 units that we are maintaining, right? So this will be added, the 300 units of safety stock. So what will happen? So 300 unit safety stock, how much is the carrying cost? The carrying cost is 3 pesos per unit. That is 900. So if that will be the case, it's better to have a safety stock. Why? The disadvantage or the advantage is greater than the disadvantage. Okay? So you will save more. How much is the savings, if ever? Even if you have an extra carrying cost of 900 because of the safety stock, you will not suffer 1,500 opportunity loss. So it is net 600. So there will be a safety stock already. And that your cost to carry will now be revised. Because instead of 900 times 3, if you can still remember, that's 27. There will be a safety stock. The cost of safety stock is 300 times 3. That's 900. And you will have a cost of carrying all the inventories for 3,600. So that's the effect of safety stock. And that's the only twist for the reorder point. Okay? So again, it is not compulsory to have a safety stock. You have to compute first. How much is the opportunity loss, if ever? And how much is the probability of that opportunity loss to happen? So, the opportunity loss times the probability of it happening, that's the advantage of having a safety stock because you're not going to suffer from it already, the opportunity cost. Just like here. But the disadvantage again, if you have another safety stock, your average inventory will be bigger. So your average inventory that was computed based on your economic order quantity will be added by the safety stock. And after that, it will be multiplied with the carrying cost per unit or the cost of preserving those inventories. So that's it for inventory management. However, one last thing. Under the EOQ that I have mentioned a while ago, there are times that you are a manufacturing company. And if you're a manufacturing company, we're talking about making inventories. So if you are making inventories, your formula will be revised. Your EOQ will become 2 times annual requirement still, but instead of cost to order, because you are now making your own inventories, okay? You're not going to order from suppliers. It will become setup cost. What is the setup cost? So, when you make your own inventory, there are machines that are involved or people that are involved, and these machines and people needs to be set up, right? So, you're going to run this in order to make your inventories. Am I right? So, you have to set up. And if you're going to set these machineries, equipments, and the people, you will incur setup cost because you're making it. Okay? So, there will be no cost to order because you're not going to get it from your suppliers. Instead, you're the ones making it. So, instead of using cost to order, you have setup cost here and then still cost to carry. Because you have to preserve still those inventories. And there are costs on preserving those inventories. Okay? So, that's it. for the basic inventory management. Thank you for watching.